Donald Trump, he had a bad week. He is facing new legal challenges. First, there are developments involving the Mar-a-Lago case and those documents seized by the FBI. 3 appeals court judges for the 11th Circuit unanimously granted the Justice Department's appeal of Judge Aileen Cannon's order. That order barred them from reviewing, the Justice Department, from reviewing classified documents in its criminal investigation. Now, the 11th Court Circuit judges said that Aileen Cannon, Judge Cannon, made a mistake here in agreeing with the Department of Justice. This is what the panel had to say. It is self-evident that the public has a strong interest in ensuring that the storage of the classified records did not result in exceptional grave damage to the national security. That, they added, involves reviewing the documents, determining who had access to them, when, and deciding which, if any, sources or methods are compromised. And we have to point out, 2 of the 3 judges were appointed by Donald Trump himself. Meanwhile, the special master in this case, Raymond Dearie, says the former president needs to back up some of his claims, y'all. He needs the receipts. First, they want to see the receipts for the claim that Donald Trump declassified the documents kept at Mar-a-Lago. And second, Judge Dearie is looking for receipts on the claim that the FBI planted evidence during the search at his Mar-a-Lago home. The Trump team has until Friday to bring those receipts. And if you ask me, I think providing the receipts will prove to be quite difficult. And did I mention that Dearie was suggested by the Trump team to serve as special master? And we're not done. In a different case, okay, New York Attorney General Letitia James, she has a message for Donald Trump. He is not above the law. Earlier this week, she filed a civil suit against Trump, his children, his adult children, by the way, and the Trump Organization. They are all accused of lying, cheating, and pretending to be much richer than they are by inflating property values by up to 9 times their actual worth in some cases. Look at this graphic. Look at this. Now, the AG says the Trumps claimed a $75 million property was worth, wait for it, $739 million. Here is AG James talking about the case.
Claiming you have money that you do not have does not amount to the art of the deal. It's the art of the steal. And there cannot be different rules for different people in this country or in this state. And former presidents are no different.
We need some legal experts to help sort this all out. So Eric Tucker is here. He covers the Justice Department for the Associated Press. And Cynthia Oxney is a former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst. All right, Eric, thank you for being with us. It's your first time on Simone. We appreciate you. Okay. Can you just explain to folks what this classified document ruling from the 11th Court Circuit means for Donald Trump?
Yes, so it was a pretty stark repudiation of Donald Trump's legal arguments and really quite an overwhelming victory for the Justice Department. What it effectively does is it permits the department to resume its review of classified documents that were taken from Mar-a-Lago and that had been put on hold, and now the department can move forward in doing that.
Now, the appeals court ruling said, and we're going to read it, we're going to put it up on the screen for folks, that the lower judge abused her discretion in requiring outside review of seized classified documents. I spoke to a couple legal experts this week, Cynthia, and they said that Judge Cannon essentially made a mistake. And
it's more
judges make mistakes. I think so. Okay.
It's like a big baseball bat to the gut. I mean, they slammed the way she had handled this and have it's a huge blow to the Trump people. And now we fortunately have this special master who generally is applying the law, who's not constrained by anything, and is in fact empowered by what the 11th Circuit ruled and is moving the case along quite quickly.
Very, very quickly. I mean, as we were talking about this before the show today with my team, I'm like, did y'all read what the 11th Circuit wrote? These judges were very clear. It was, in my opinion, stinging rebuke. Let's talk about this deadline, though, that Judge Dearie has set out, the special master for the Trump team to essentially provide receipts, as I like to call them, to these claims that Donald Trump himself has made. Now, I will note, I don't think that Trump's lawyers have made these claims in court. This is Donald Trump that has made claims that the FBI planted information in his home, that he declassified the documents already. I don't think that they have made those claims in court yet. So, Eric, what can we expect on Friday?
So just to back up for a second, Simone, so the FBI produced what they call a detailed property inventory, which is a list of items and documents that they took. And so that's been produced, and that's going to be given to the Trump team. And they will have the opportunity to identify any potential discrepancies. And as you said, the lawyers have not made those claims yet. So it remains to be seen whether they will.
It remains to be seen. So here, why has this even been a debate? It has really, you know, obviously I used to work at the White House. I did not work at the Department of Justice, but I know a bunch of lawyers. We've had brushes with the Justice Department lawyers from the White House. And it just strikes me as though Donald Trump is making these claims and then everyone is like, oh, well, did he not? It's very clear to figure this out, yay or nay. Why has this even been a debate?
Well, it's a debate because, and it's similar to what happened in the electoral fraud thing, right? Everybody says all kinds of things outside of court, and then they have the good sense not to say them in court. And for the poor lawyers that represent him, honestly, what a nightmare to have a client who goes on the air and has like his Karnak the Magnificent, maybe I declassified it by thinking about it, or maybe they were looking for Hillary Clinton's emails, or maybe the FBI planted it, or any number of things, all of which are admissible against him in court.
It just seems ridiculous.
But they don't want to say that in court because their law licenses are on the line. And he's been able to get away with it because he hasn't had a judge like Judge Dearie. He hasn't had a court like the 11th Circuit who have held his feet to the fire. And that's fixing to happen in this case.
Very clearly, we will be watching on Friday. I'm interested to see what the receipt says. Let's look at the other giant legal case, and this is a civil suit that Donald Trump is now facing. We're going to put this up on the screen. New York Attorney General Tish James is accusing Donald Trump, his children, his organization of lying to banks, to insurance companies, and the state by fraudulently overvaluing his assets while trying to minimize his company's tax bills. I think it's important to remind folks that Trump sat for a deposition with the Attorney General, State Attorney General, not a couple weeks ago, Eric. Do you think that had anything to do with what we saw from with Tish James earlier this week?
Well, it's, you know, when he went in there, he invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And this is an investigation that began 3 years ago when he was when he's president, and now we're seeing it, you know, bear fruit. So it's a 200-page lawsuit. So it's a lot of allegations.
It is a lot of allegations. Cynthia, I'm sure you have thoughts.
I have thoughts. I mean, I think if he didn't have all the other legal fronts, they would have figured out how to get him to testify in this case. But since he took the Fifth, every time, if I say I'm the prosecutor, I'm saying you're wearing a brown dress, and you say I take the Fifth, in court, in a civil case, the jury can infer, yeah, she's wearing a brown dress. That wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have taken the Fifth. You wouldn't have set up that problem for him if he didn't have all the other legal fronts, because his lawyers would have figured out how to get him to testify. Yeah. So you can't really look at the Tish James case and an analysis without recognizing the guy's in trouble on so many legal fronts. They're influencing each other.
It is not just one thing. This doesn't exist in a vacuum. There are many things. Eric, Cynthia, thank y'all very much for kicking us off. It's my first day back. I'm happy to have you here.
Congratulations and welcome back.
Thank you guys so much.